Hello students, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to learn about the chapter 1 from Democratic Politics. Topic: What is democracy and why democracy? Before you're going to start this chapter, first subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for the future notification. Here I have splitted this chapter into three parts. Part 1 carries about what is democracy. Part 2 carries about why democracy, and part 3 is about the important questions which you have to prepare for this chapter. Now, can we start the chapter? First, we have to find out the meaning for the word democracy. The word democracy is derived from the Greek language. This word, one single word, has got two words. One is demos, another one is kratos. Demos gives the meaning the people. Kratos gives the meaning rule. So put together, the word democracy means rule for the people and by the people. Now, here is a definition given by the former President of USA, Abraham Lincoln. According to him, the government of the people, by the people, and for the people. Now, we are going to see how many types of democracies are there. There are two types of democracy prevails. Number one, direct democracy, and another one is representative democracy. Direct democracy. This type of democracy prevails where the population is less areas. According to this, all the citizens in a nation, they will gather and they will participate the government directly. Voting is done then and there. Lawmaking also will be done on the spot. So this type of democracy prevails only in a less populated country. Actually speaking, the ancient Greece, they started this directed democracy first. Now we are switching over into the another democracy, representative democracy. This kind of democracy prevails where the population is high. The country which has got more population, there they practice representative democracy. According to this representative democracy, they conduct election and they select their representatives to rule the nation. Here is an example, United States of America, where the population is high, and simultaneously we can take our own country, India, also for this representative democracy. Here in your textbook, a few countries' politics example is given to find out the answer for the question, what is democracy? Here are the following nations: Pakistan, China, Mexico, Saudi Arabia, Fiji, Estonia, at last Zimbabwe. Through the way of these nations' politics, we are going to find out the answer, what is democracy? Can we start now? First example from our neighboring country Pakistan. Here this nation got independence like us in the year of 1947 August 14. That day onwards they started following the democratic setup. But in the year of 1999 General Parvez Musharraf led a military coup. He overthrew the democratically elected government and declared the chief executive of the country. In 2002, he changed his position to president. Then he held a referendum, 5 years extension. Referendum here gives the meaning to find out the opinion of the people. In this part, he wanted to find out the opinion of the people and through the way of certain dirty tricks declared himself that people accepted it. Next one is media, human rights organizations and democratic activists said referendum was based on malpractices and fraud. In August 2002, he issued legal framework order amended the constitution of Pakistan. According to this order, President can dismiss the national or provisional assemblies, as well as President has got all the power to dismiss the elected representatives. Now, after reading all this Pakistan's politics, can we say it is a democratic country? Definitely not. It is not a democratic country. Now we have to find out what is democracy. Through the way of analyzing other nation, we will find out. The second example is from our again neighboring nation China. In China, elections are regularly held after every 5 years for electing country's parliament, National People's Congress. They have the power to appoint the president. It have nearly 3,000 people elected from all parts. Some members are elected by the army. Before contesting the elections, the candidates need the approval of Chinese Communist Party. Only those who member in Communist Party or 8 smaller parties allied to it were allowed to contest elections held in 2002-2003. The government is always formed by the Communist Party. So through the way of this example, we'll come to know this nation has got only one single party. With that single party, election is conducted. Now, one more example is given, that is Mexico. This nation is situated in North America. Since its independence in 1930, Mexico holds elections after every 6 years to elect its presidents. The country has never been under military rule or dictator rule. But until 2000, all election was won by a party called PRI, that is Institutional Revolutionary Party. Opposition parties did contest the elections but never win the election. The PRI used many dirty tricks to win the election. All those who were employed in government offices had to attend its party meetings. Teachers of government school forced parents to vote PRI. Now we have seen these two nations' election process. Even though these two nations conduct election, can we say that these two nations follows democracy? We'll find out through the way of one more example in the next slide. Here is about voting right. Three nations example is given. Saudi Arabia, there they do not give voting right for the women. Estonia, this nation doesn't give voting right for the Russian minority. Fiji, here Indian Fijians doesn't have the voting right. Indian Fijians are the settlers. So these three nations, they do not give voting right for the particular group in their nation. In Saudi Arabia, women do not have the voting right. Estonia, Russian minority do not have the voting right. In Fiji, Indian Fijian doesn't have the voting right. So can we say these nations follow the democratic principle? Yes or no? We'll find out after seeing one more example. The last example is about an African nation, Zimbabwe. This nation attained independence from white minority in the year of 1980. Since then, the country has been ruled by ZANU-PF. The party led the freedom struggle. The leader of the party, Robert Mugabe, has been ruling the country since independence. Elections have been held regularly, always won ZANU-PF. President is popular but uses unfair practices in election. Changed the constitution and increased the power of president and makes him less accountable. Opposition party workers harassed and disrupted. There is a law that limits the right to criticize the president. So this was the rule of the nation Zimbabwe, and this nation declared that she follows democracy. Now, can you tell me, is it democracy? If it is not democracy, what is democracy? We'll find out the answer in the next slide. Here are the answer for the question, what is democracy? Now each point we are going to compare it with the nations which we have come across in the earlier slides. To begin with, first point. In a democracy, the final decision making power must rest with those who elected by the people. This point we are going to compare with the nation Pakistan. This point is not at all suitable with the Pakistan's Parvez Musharraf rule. There, he doesn't give power for the elected representative. So, can we call Pakistan as a democratic nation? No, it is not a democratic nation. Second one, a democracy must be based on a free and fair election where those currently in power have a fair chance of losing. This second point, we are going to match it with the nation China and Mexico. China, they have only one single political party. With that party alone, they are conducting election. Another nation, Mexico, even though they have several parties, always one single party alone wins in the election. So we cannot come to a conclusion that Mexico and China, both the nations are democratic nations, because they conduct the election just for the name's sake, and it is not a free and fair election. So China and Mexico both are not democratic nation. Third point, in a democracy, each adult citizen must have one vote and each vote must have one value. This third point we are going to match it with Saudi Arabia, Estonia and Fiji. When we see that three nations, they don't give weightage and voting right for women, Russian minority and Indian Fijians. Can we call these three nations as a democratic nation? Definitely not. Because in a democratic nation, every citizen should be recognized and they should have the voting right. Next one is the fourth point. A democratic government rules within limits set by constitutional law and citizens' rights. And fifth point, opposition parties are allowed to function freely before and after the elections. Last point, the democratic governments are based on fundamental principles and political equality. Here I am going to club the last 3 points put together for the nation Zimbabwe. When we study about the Zimbabwe's politics, there only one single ruler throughout the year. After the independence, Robert Mugabe alone rules the nation and he never permits the opposition party to open their voice, and all the medias were under the control of the government. So with these 3 points, can we say that Zimbabwe follows democracy? Definitely not. So what is called democracy in Zimbabwe? There is no democracy in Zimbabwe. So here is an answer. What is democracy? According to this, the elected people should have the decision making power. Second one, free and fair election should be conducted, and always the ruling party have a fair chance of losing. Third one, every adult citizen should have one vote and one vote should have value. Next important one is a democratic government rules within the limits set by constitutional law and citizenal right. And always in a democracy, opposition plays a major role, as well as every citizen should have the fundamental rights. So with this, we found the answer for the question, what is democracy?